I wrote a poem on my migration journey, and the name of the poem is The Migratory Bird. Little warm soul, just hatched from the shell, with blurry eye, looking for warmth and wishing all is well. Little did she know that soon a storm would destroy her nest. She did not belong there, as she did not look like the rest. Abandoned and unloved, yet provisioned to live the life, she grew with siblings and family, often trying to avoid the strife. Time went by, and it was her turn to fly high and touch new feet, migrate to a new world to create her own retreat. The storm was lurking in corner, smiling at the happy bird, waiting for it to finish blazoning her abode and get tired. Rumbling and roaring came the thunder with all the lightning. The birdie cried in pain, but spread its wings to shelter her offspring. Courageous soul that she was, never knew how to stop. She gathered herself to rise from the ashes and reach the top. It was time to migrate again for a new nest with fresh breath. This time, she had her daughters flying beneath her wings for strength. She now rests in her nest and empowers with deep benevolence. Darkness of night brings in the rays of sunshine and credence. Thank you.
Woman of color, who am I? I'm first of the human race, a woman of color. The blood that runs through my body is red, same as yours. I dress and look differently, and we share the same values. Values of basic human rights, rights to life, liberty, security, and equality before the law. I'm a woman who have been told my place in society, excluded in groups because I don't look like them, underestimated because of stereotyping qualifications, deny opportunities for growth and development in my chosen career path, lost job opportunities because of my external appearance, underrepresented at the decision-making table, mock on the pronunciation of my name, tease on my accent. I'm a woman who have found the path that allowed the future generation of women of color to walk easier. I carry the scars of inequality, disparities, and biases and wear them with humility and contentment. I advocate, instigate, and with the help of allies, bring awareness to the discrimination against those who oppress. I mentor, encourage, support my sister of color to challenge the policies, know their rights, speak with dignity, integrity, confidence, empower themselves with knowledge. A woman of color is what I am, for I also carry within me the softness and curiosity of a child, the love and affection of a sister, supportive and helpfulness of a friend, loyalty and faithfulness of a wife, respectful considerateness and strong work ethics of a colleague. I am a woman of color who may have similar lived experiences with you. I carry a dream of a world of mutual respect of each other's culture, religion, language, abilities. That the color of our skin will not matter over time. The knowledge and abilities we carry within is enough to be inclusive and impactful in society. That we are all considered equals. A woman of color is what I am. I know who I am. I continue to take my place and space in this race, the human race. Thank you.
Pressing against the margins. Black, woman, this is me as seen by others. Reduced, minimized, dismissed, ignored, overlooked, undermined by their perceptions, fears, ignorance. Mental stress and other health effects never acknowledged, but I press against the margins daily, fighting for my place in history, fighting for recognition, fighting for my rights daily as a human being. But I will not go quietly into the night, for I was created for great things, fearlessly and wonderfully predestinated. I press against the margins daily. I am a Black woman, seizing those qualities with power, holding tight to the wisdom of those who came before me. With insights learned through my daily lived experiences, striving to create meaningful, better paths for those who come after me. I fight against the margins daily. Embrace your differences. Celebrate your blemishes, your beauty, every part of you that makes you who you are. We are human, not perfect. Develop your ways of seeing. Emancipate your vision, your ways of thinking about yourself, your world, those around you, asking questions, seeking answers, continuously striving for improvements, better ways of being as part of the greater community. Press against the margins daily, tiring as it seems. Continuously striving for a better world for yourself, your neighbors, your colleagues, your children, grandchildren, community. For without these efforts, there is only stagnation. Press against the margins to create possibilities. Press against the margins for a better future. Press against the margins daily because we were created for great things.
I sit with them at lunch. I eat with my hands. It said, that's undignified. I am offered cutlery for correct, culturally accepted manners to use in public. I refuse. I am told it's not Western culture. It's dirty, even though I clean my hands before I eat. I feel offended, but choose not to confront directly for fear of white privilege and other repercussions. I am expected to understand other African peoples, African language, heritage, food, music, as if Africa is one continent, like America, with most English being their most preferred language. My accent does not mean I am stupid. After all, come one day, a white woman asked me, "Do you speak English?" Another encounter was as a student asked me if we Africans live on trees, assuming we don't have houses as developed countries, after I had said I didn't understand what they were saying. What others don't understand is that as much as they hear our accent, we also hear other people's accent. As an immigrant, they are expected to live up to their Black norms or stereotypes. The non-conforming with a Eurocentric hair type gets attention in workplaces. One day I braided a long braids and had just changed from a shorter curled wig. A white coworker asked if I added magic to my hair. I joked, I said that I can grow my hair overnight. I am expected to dislike my ancestors' way of living as it's backward and uncivilized. With my accent, it's well accepted to take on the odd jobs like feeding the elderly and taking care of the most vulnerable developmental disabled people. Working as a laborer at a Canada bread factory, your accent doesn't matter. Here, our accents are not noticeable. Our muscles and healthy bodies are appreciated. Capitalism always needs muscles and blood to suck. Our accents are mostly notable in higher white-collar jobs and well-paying, decent jobs where a few of us are used as tokenism to promote the Canadian illusion of the inclusivity, diversity, and multicultural beliefs.
I'm grateful for the opportunity to work on this land and to be part of its stewardship and implement this stewardship. I'm humbled and very blessed for having this opportunity, which is a value I believe strongly in as we are stewards of this universe. It is our duty to leave the universe in the better condition or the same condition as we found it for future generations to enjoy its majestic lives. So leading lines, all through the city, we see leading lines, and the leading lines, what my view is, are the cranes, and they go up higher and higher and higher. And people are homeless, they need a place to stay. And also we need to keep the men and women that work on these cranes safe, because they need to go home to their families and to their loved ones as well. Compost, beautiful. I looked when I was young, sitting high on the tree branches. Today, when I'm in my most vibrant colors, I'm also no longer able to hold myself to the branch that held me through. I stumble, becoming dirty and becoming a part of a compost heap. Alas, I will be regenerated as compost to feed other young saplings. Was this all my life was meant to be? Ah, the wise sage within me whispers to me, you were created for a magnificent purpose, to recreate the new leaves and new lives. Symbolism and documentation. For me, symbolism and documentation are the parallels I see between myself and nature. When I have given all of me to the universe, I am now in my prime, gorgeous and beautiful. Finally, where I've always wanted to be, and in that very moment, it's time for me to bid farewell to all that I know, to start a brand new journey, better and more enriching than the one I have, as this journey is only temporary and my soul is going to ascend to higher heights.
Attitude. The longer I live, the more I realize the impact of attitude on life. Attitude to me is more important than facts. It is more important than the past, than education, than money, than circumstances, than failures, than successes, than what other people think or say or do. It is more important than the parents' giftedness or skill. It will make or break a company, a church, a home. The remarkable thing is we have a choice every day regarding the attitude we will embrace for that day. We cannot change our past. We cannot change the inevitable. The only thing we can do is play on the one string we have, and that is our attitude. I am convinced that life is 10% what happens to me and 90% how I react to it. And so it is with you. We are in charge of our attitudes. I reflect on the attitudes of my parents, myself, and my children. I think about when we came to the US, how my mom was the one who comforted my dad when he wanted to go back home or when he could not find a job, reminding him that we left everything and will be okay. And I think about how I did the same thing for my husband when he couldn't get a job, even though he graduated from some of the best universities in the world. But unlike me, where my mom will place $100 bills in my hands every time I visited, reminding me to get proper food and that everything will be okay, my parents only had each other. I think about our first home for 7 years in Brooklyn, New York, a 2-bedroom apartment where the walls were so porous. During the winter months, we would place blankets on the walls to help absorb the moisture and cover the mold and mildew and take in frequent hot showers to stay warm. And yet my mom always said those were the happiest days of her life. That is where we became a family, was taught compassion, love of parents, and respect for each other, to listen and to be heard. Where traditions like doing prayers on birthdays instead of a party started. Witnessing a mother's struggle with menopause and not knowing what it was then. Witnessing the kindness and generosity of giving and welcoming to all that visited or stayed over, even though money was scarce. Bravery of parents while providing comfort and safety by having a mom home always, who would stay up until we're all in bed. I think about the 1-bedroom apartment my husband lived in for 5 years in the US when he had to take a job there, when he couldn't find one here in Canada, and how cold that apartment was. And when we visited, we too took hot showers to stay warm, eat a quick breakfast and leave, returning late in the evening, change into our sleeping clothes and hop right into the bed and blow up bed. I think about our children's time in that cold apartment, where they learn about contentment, to listen and share, where they too learn that happiness is not defined by the place, but the people you are with. I think about, even though I was an engineer during all the years my husband struggled to get a constant paying job, I stayed home with our children for 12 years to give them the same comfort and safety my mom did for us. I remembered in 8th grade, first year in school in the US, a classmate's envy when I told her that my mom is home when I go home from school. For 1 year, our children experienced what it was like not to have one of us at home. And I remembered on my husband's first birthday back from the States, the tears in my eldest daughter's eyes when she read his card to him, telling him how grateful she was that he was home, opening up the floodgate for my other daughter to share the stress and anxiety she felt for having to take care of her 6-year-old brother. Even though it hurts to see our children in pain, I am grateful that they now have an appreciation for the care and love we give them. I think about my parents' journey, about my dad's, that despite having to leave school at 14 years to take care of his parents and migrating at the age of 42 years, he was able to elevate himself through self-education, serve his community as the spiritual head, work at highly qualified city job for 30 years, yet at the same time managed to be a great husband, father, and grandfather. About my mom, where did she find the strength and courage to be such an amazing, incredible, dignified, caring, and content person? How was she able to find inspiration to create our beautiful family? One of the most inspirational acts of my mom is from the time we moved into our Brooklyn home almost 30 years ago. She would gather us every couple months to perform prayers. I am sure she did that to ground us, to remind us what is important, to give us a chance to be together and share, to assess, reset, and continue, and to give us hope and faith. In my married life, performing prayers in our home with our kids, attending temple regularly is one of the most impactful acts I have taken to give me the comfort, guidance, and strength to keep going, to continue to manage life struggles and challenges without losing sight of the person I am and want to be. I think our attitude in life helps us navigate life ups and downs while helping us find and define ourselves. It helps define what is relevant to us. I am grateful for my parents' attitude, for their attitude is what inspires and defines mine. But more importantly, their attitude is why they will always be and remain relevant. My daughter asked me when I was putting my artwork together, how is it I remember what Nana and Nanny said? I said, that is because every word, everything my parents said and do matters to me. I was able to give her that answer quickly because I told my dad a few weeks before he passed those exact words, that everything he said and did matters to me and will always matter. I realized that most of my personal battles relate to wanting to be relevant. We want to be relevant at work. We want to be relevant to our kids or our parents. I also realized, unfortunately, despite what we do, most of the time, how relevant we are is determined by others. I find that very ironic.
You used to call me Niglet, Niggle, my negress. You thought you were so clever and witty. You always said you respect revolutionaries, but you're nothing but a colonizer in disguise because you only believe in causes that benefit you. One day, you brought me a gift, one that I never asked for. You said, "Look, Niglet, I got you a piggy bank. She's got red lips, dark eye makeup, and gaudy jewelry. Oh, and she's ghetto, just like you." How dare you? Even though you see me in my current human form, I have lived for over 2,000 years. I am the daughter of Hathor and Amun-Ra, and a student of Seshat. I was born of fire and wind, a place beyond your imagination, a place where women of courage are born, women who are beautiful, dangerous, and smart, women who will always turn their pain into beauty. You small, silly little man, you are just a speck of dust in my universe, and to dust you will return. You stole from my future, and now you will face the consequences of such actions. May your bloodline end with the next generation, and your name be forgotten in the winds of history.
What does a Canadian look like? At college in England, they wanted to celebrate diversity. You're from Canada. Can you do something for us? I pitched the scheme to Canada House. They gave me red and white swag, the colors of my adopted nation. Me, a native of Bombay, or so we called it then, using the British appropriation of the Sanskrit term Mumbai. But I never lived in India, only visited from my home in Dubai, where I was never a citizen because I wasn't Emirati. Anyway, to Indians, we weren't really Indian because we were Goan, caught up in the diaspora of the Portuguese and speaking the mother tongue of the colonizers generations gone. My parents pitched our names in the lottery and Canada won. So finally a citizen with passport in hand, there I was, the brown girl from Canada, handing out pins, hats, and flags. A woman stood before me and looked me over. Smiling, she said, "And where are you from?" As I swam in a sea of Canadian paraphernalia, I was a proverbial walking flag. She paused with the words, and they came down like a knife she plunged into my heart. "But you don't look Canadian." Because I am a child of India, because I am a child of Portuguese, because I am a child of Dubai, because my mother tongue is English, because I am brown, and because I lay my head down in Canada. I bleed with the wounds, a daughter of the diaspora. So I say to those who still see me on the wrong side of the door, outside looking in, what does a Canadian look like? I am a child of the earth, engendered of the land and the sky, like the maple tree that rains its brilliant colors, without prejudice or boundary, and speaks to say, I am Canadian, I am where I belong, and I am home.